You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. How can slowing down lead to working less, earning more, and creating a life that feels fully aligned? Let's explore in today's episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. Most of us work harder to get more done, but what if slowing down is what creates the real momentum? There's a state where things feel effortless, where we are moving with something rather than against it. Carolyn Litton is a transformational guide, speaker, and retreat host, and the founder of the Vision Project, a movement helping high achievers and leaders feel better and achieve more by shifting from force to flow. A former award-winning loan officer turned transformational guide, Carolyn blends neuroscience, universal law, and practical habit work to help people align their energy, elevate their state of mind, and create success that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Through her Vision, Ground, Grow method, she helps clients and audiences reconnect to their authentic vision, ground their energy, and grow through inspired action and community. Carolyn is also the founder of Hearts for Hope, a nonprofit that brings communities together to support those experiencing homelessness, a project born from the very principles she teaches through the Vision Project. Here is my interview with Carolyn Litton. Hi, Carolyn. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because we are going to talk about the flow state today. And you know what? I don't think I've ever had an episode dedicated to the flow state on the podcast before. So I'm beyond excited. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Petra. Thank you for having me. I'm beyond excited as well. This will be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think so many people don't quite realize how the flow state actually connects to everything. So this is going to give a lot of perspective and insight on that for our listeners. I'm really excited. For starters, Carolyn, would you like to share a little bit about yourself and maybe the pieces of your journey or your story that you feel connect to what you do today? What has brought you here today? And also share with our listeners what it is that you do today.
Thank you. I'd be happy to share, Petra. Again, Carolyn Litton. I came from, my background is in the mortgage industry. So I was a mortgage loan officer for over 20 years. Again, loved what I did for a long time. I helped people achieve the American dream, right, of owning a home. And over the years, I became very burnt out. It's also a very high stress industry, lots of deadlines, lots of things to juggle, a lot of things that are out of our control. And I became really burnt out. I just worked so many hours. And in that, I really lost sight of who I was as a person. I forgot what it was like to dream. I helped people achieve their dreams, but just really started becoming disconnected. And I'm very grateful that I went through basically a pattern interruption that caused me to change my habits. And long story short, I tell my audience when I speak, when you change your habits, what you will find is that your habits start to change you. And it was truly amazing. I started incorporating habits around self-development and self-care. And I really want to emphasize the self-care because as most high achievers know, that's something a very typical mindset would say, I'll do that when I have time. And that we all know how that goes. That never happens, right? So what I did is I prioritized self-care. I slowed down just a little bit. Again, this isn't making drastic moves, just adding a little bit of self-care to my life. And what happened It was incredible, right? The clarity I received, and with the personal development, I started working smarter, not harder, and my entire life changed. I essentially, almost doubled my business while drastically reducing my work hours. Really, I'm like, this is pretty cool. I grew a charity that I founded to help the homeless, and just so many amazing things happen. Fast forward to the point where I'm like, oh goodness, this is my purpose in life, to share this with others. And following that same methodology, not knowing the how, within a very short time became a speaker, author, transformational guide, retreat host, using this exact same method and guiding other people to connecting with the flow.
Oh, thank you for sharing your story. And I can tell by how you speak about this that you've really come into alignment with what you're passionate about and what you enjoy working with. And I feel that is a key piece that actually many people don't get in their lives. They don't get to do what they want to do. They might be stuck doing things that they don't quite enjoy. Having that opportunity and actually maybe taking a step back and saying, okay, what is it that I actually feel passionate about? Or what is it that I want to do? And that lights me up. Such a powerful moment. And I'm glad you're here to tell us how that happened. I think because that's probably the secret that everybody is wondering about as well. How do we even make that happen? And why does it not always work? Why does it only seem to work sometimes? So let's dive into that a little bit.
These are great questions.
Share with our listeners a little bit about how you went about all of this. I feel that you pivoted quite a bit. You had a job that is, I think, maybe not as related to what you do now. So how did you come to embody that change? How did you start making that change when you wanted to pivot? Let's start with that.
Oh, so great. As I mentioned, connecting with your vision, with your true passion, really starts with slowing down, like I mentioned, because I knew I was meant for something more, and I knew I wasn't connected to my authentic self, but I didn't know what it was like. So I found it's not something that you force or chase, it's something that you allow and you receive. And that happens when you set the intention to connect with it and just, again, get quiet, go outdoors for a walk, slow your minds down, meditate, pray. Like, by doing these little habits, and I say little, I mean, they're huge and they're very profound, but when I say little, I mean, it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but do take some time to do that. And you'll find that you get these little whispers. Sometimes it's a vision, sometimes it's a feeling, but it will eventually come to you. And you start figuring out who you are, or reconnecting with who you are, with what lights you up. So that's the first part. Then the second part, a lot of it is mindset as well, because then it's very easy for the mind and the ego to come in and say, oh, that's great, but how is that going to be possible? So then the mind comes in and starts squashing these dreams. But what I found is, through my Vision Ground Grow methodology, that helped me to get over the limiting beliefs, to see them for what they are, to say, okay, yes, I see you, but I'm not going to let you control the outcome. And then by accessing that, connecting with my passion and accessing the vision and getting into alignment, calming the nervous system, what I found is you get into that flow state and you start attracting the opportunities, the people, and everything that you need. And again, here's another golden nugget for our listeners here too. You only get clarity for that next step. So a lot of times, especially again, being a high achiever in how we're wired in society, is like, we want to know everything. We want to know all the steps, the end time, all of the things. And that's not how it works. So really also developing that faith and trust that you will get to that next step. You absolutely will. And just by leaning into, that's how I got everywhere on the stages, on hosting these retreats all over the world. I didn't know the end. I just held the end vision and knew and trusted that everything else would fall into place. And it did. It always does.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I feel at the same time, that's probably one of the most challenging pieces, is having that trust in yourself and also in that process that happens when you open up to that and let it go. that can be where a lot of resistance comes up, a lot of the fear and the doubt that we carry. We actually, I feel, in those moments really face a lot of our limiting beliefs that are in our way for that. I think this is exactly where we can start working with that, and maybe walk us a bit through your framework as well, because I feel that your framework helps people come past that point where they might be experiencing those fears, those resistances, as they're learning to trust and lean into that. So walk us through that and tell us what that is about.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. The Vision Project is the framework of vision, ground, grow. And I say that's how you get in flow. So again, the more we can make this fun and light and easy, the more we are in a frequency where we start attracting, right? When we get into the fear and the doubt and the resistance, we're actually pushing away what we want most. So it starts with vision. So once you connect with what it is that you want, I'm a big vision board person, and I created a mobile app that makes it really easy. Again, we want to make it fun, easy, convenient. A picture is worth 1,000 words. When you can find a picture that lights you up and it excites you from the inside out, and you look at it every day, I say, let your subconscious minds do the heavy lifting. Now, the subconscious, it's good and bad, right? So it's those subconscious beliefs that hold us back. But when we can fill it with what we do want, now we can leverage it for the good, the reticular activating system. We can find more opportunities by staying connected to our vision and what we do want. So that's the vision. Stay connected daily to that, what through images, through visualizations, whatever it is. Short, fun, and that's my motto. So then grounding is so important. So when I refer to grounding, it's more in terms of just being centered and calm and balanced. Really, it's a way to regulate our nervous system. So then we can be in that state where we can have that calmness and clarity and see the opportunities in front of us. But again, the more it requires repetition. So the more you practice it, the easier it is to stay grounded or shift to a more grounded, calm state when life gets in the way. And last is grow. Grow by continuing to learn every day. So like your podcast, amazing. Learn about new ways that will help us learn and expand. Grow with a community who is also there with you, who are also up-leveling their lives. Again, you are who you surround yourself with. So again, be very cognizant of your environment and surrounding yourself with people who are in that same space. So that's the framework in a nutshell: vision, ground, grow.
I love that.
And by that, you stay in that, you'll get into that flow state. You'll get the inspiration.
Yeah. And you touch on something so important there. And that is that in our busy lives, if everything is filled with that busyness, oftentimes we cannot connect to that creativity or that essence of us, that spark, some people call it. It's hard to dig that out of all of that noise that is surrounding us. And I actually never thought I was a creative person ever. That's one of the things I always said, I'm not creative. And when I was able to make space for that, for what you describe, the grounding, coming into the stillness and actually giving myself space and slowing down, all of a sudden, all of these ideas came and I had these little things pop up. And it was a transformative moment, I want to say, in exactly what you're describing. And so for listeners, if you're thinking that you're blocked or you're burnt out or you're not creative or you can't do this or you can't do that, I think that's just all under the noise of today where that gets buried. And innately, I think we all have that capacity to connect with that. So what you're describing in your framework is a beautiful way to reconnect with all of that, our inner light, that thing that really makes us light up.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. It shifts our habit. We shift our habits and we shift our habit of thinking. And you are absolutely right. That's so funny that you mentioned you didn't think you were creative. And I believe we're all creators. We're all meant, there's something that wants to be expressed through all of us. And that's when we really feel lit up and connected. And again, that does not get expressed through us, through all the noise when things are really busy. So it's about being intentional and carving out some time to allow that to flow through us.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to touch a little bit maybe on, because you talked about mindset as well being an important part of this. Now, I want to say that if we're doing the vision and we're connecting to the vision and we're grounding and then we're growing through all of that, what would you say for our listeners on kind of the first few steps where they can get started? Because I feel that a lot of people feel like there's so much toxic positivity out there. We're sweeping things under the rug. Just make yourself feel better. Put yourself in a better state. So that's not what this is about. So tell our listeners a little bit about where they can start with this in a few steps to bring themselves into alignment with your framework and how to move forward.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, it's definitely not about anything like forced positivity. Your nervous system knows the difference, and even your subconscious mind knows the difference. So I'm really one of my mantras also is the feel better to achieve more. So pay attention to how you feel. Like really, that is guidance. What are you doing? What are you thinking about when you really feel joyful and free and calm and amazing? And what are you doing when you're not? And then what could that, and just ask yourself a question. What could that be telling you about yourself? And just approach it with curiosity. And by doing that and asking yourself questions like, what could this mean? You're really allowing like some programming that's not serving you to bubble up and to surface. And once that's surfaced, sometimes it just needs to surface and it'll dissipate on its own. And sometimes you're like, oh gosh, that doesn't feel good, but this isn't a truth about me. And then it becomes, you're conscious of it. So then you could just be aware of the choices that you make from there. Does that support? Is that what you were?
Yeah.
Just being aware of how you feel.
Awareness. Yeah, exactly. And we do go through life very often, I think, without being aware of any of those things, without being aware of how we feel or what we think, or maybe all of the negative thoughts we have every day. We might not be conscious of that at all. So having that awareness to be able then to step forward into connecting with your vision, that's, I feel, a really important part of that. And of course, you also do really amazing guided visualizations. So tell us a little bit about that, because I feel that through something like that, our listeners could also maybe start connecting a little bit more with their vision and that inner wisdom that they have.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So grateful to lead guided meditations and visualizations. And it's just, they're so powerful because you get your body to a relaxed state as well. And then allowing your subconscious mind to absorb truths and let go of beliefs that just don't serve you any longer. But it is a combination, and it really is your expertise. It's the mind and body connection. It's reprogramming, but also getting it activated, like in your nervous system, like really letting your body feel that and allow for that. And through repetition, because that's how you rewire subconscious beliefs that do not serve you. It's through repetition and emotional impact. So when you can connect with the emotion and again, get to that calm state and do this time and time again, you start becoming that higher version of you, that version who's capable of achieving your vision. And it happens with grace and flow. You don't force it. It's something that you naturally become. You remember who you are. So that's what I do through my meditations and visualizations.
Yeah, and I love experiencing those. So for listeners, if you get a chance to experience one of Carolyn's meditations and visualizations, I would definitely suggest that you try that out and listen in, because they're fantastic. And of course, it's all part of changing our state, I want to say, almost, and starting to change those habits that we have. And I think pretty much we all know now that we can't really, I want to say, achieve something if we're not in that frequency or that state yet. So there's, of course, that really important piece of doing that internal work, of doing that self-care, as you said, because I feel that is sometimes challenging, and where people get discouraged just because they try to connect with their vision and start all these projects, but really internally they haven't done the work yet to get there. How do you work with your clients on that? And do you feel there can be that discrepancy of people saying, yeah, I'm going to go do that, but they haven't really done the internal work yet to be able to hold that vision and bring it into the world?
Yes. And it's too funny because I also frequently will mention you can have every best, the greatest platform or system out there. But if you haven't done that inner work and it doesn't come from that aligned state, it very much feels forced. And that's where things you experience a lot of resistance and it could be very frustrating. So that's why, again, I lead everyone through the same model: vision, ground, grow, vision, ground, grow. And their goals become their visions that are on their vision board. But when we work together, we're doing all the internal work. And it's amazing to then see the results that ensue. But that's not the main focus. That ends up being the result, the byproduct. Their visions come to fruition because they become that version of them that attracts the opportunities to make them come true into reality. It's cool. I've worked with people in terms of this is shifting relationships, right? Because it's so easy for us to say, oh, it's the other person. When the other person changes, then I'll be happy. If that person only did this. But really, by focusing on shifting our state, our ways of being, and just everything changes. The relationships change. People have received downloads for new business ideas, created those business ideas, increased their business, you name it, all different areas. They receive the ideas or the opportunities once they, again, shift their state through that vision, ground, grow method.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And I guess that also answers the question I had in the beginning of why does this work sometimes and not all the time? I think it also depends on how we're able to actually change our state and hold that frequency. Because
hold the frequency.
A lot of the times we come back into a state where fear comes back, that doubt sneaks in. I think this is why it works when we're able to hold that frequency and come into that state. And as you said, when we have those emotions that are a bit more negative, it starts pushing it away again. So I'm starting to see that pattern of why sometimes that might be inconsistent when people haven't come into that space yet and learned yet to hold that frequency consistently. So that actually makes a lot of sense now that you've explained that.
And I'm sure you found the same thing as well with your community. This is extremely hard to do when you're not surrounded by other people. Have a community that supports you. Environment truly is everything. The collective subconscious programming is dominant out there, that really to have a safe space and an environment where we can be our true aligned, authentic selves, and we can practice being in the flow and understanding so many programs that aren't serving us, but that we've been programmed by society through our formative years to believe that certain things is truth. That is not truth. Truly having a community to be around consistently is so supportive. And that's where I've noticed the people having the best results, when they can mastermind, when they can get together and be in that community consistently.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I'm just thinking back because there are a lot of times when people want to make a change or they're, as you said, burnt out. They want to pivot. They actually want to realign with who they are or find out who they are, but their environment is not supportive. Their family might say, no, you can't leave your job, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. Too much risk. You're rocking the boat too much. How do you work with your clients on that if they're finding that their environment might not be supportive to the changes that they're wanting to make? Is there anything that you can share with our listeners to maybe help them through that fear that they might be experiencing at that point, or that doubt that might be creeping in if they find that their loved ones or their friends aren't maybe on that same page with them wanting to go for their own visions?
Sure. My best advice to that is to still find a community where you can get that. Again, we can't control other people and their thoughts and behaviors, but when you can find your own support system and your own outlet and stay in that vibration, what I have found is that people within my community they don't have to say anything. So the people, like their family members, start noticing a shift in them and then start becoming curious. So it's never about fixing anyone or telling anyone what to do. It's all about yourself. So find your community, find your vibe, find your tribe, stay in that. Don't worry about fixing or changing other people. As you change your vibrational frequency, as you change your state, that will naturally happen. The relationship will over time start to change.
Yeah, I guess it's because we're all connected on that frequency level as well. So we probably start impacting others when we change our frequency.
Non-verbally too. And that's
Yeah,
the biggest thing, because no one wants to be told what to do or make a
absolutely.
change. Everyone is on their own journey. But yeah, when you shift your state, that has definitely the ripple effect.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And that's a fascinating thing all on its own. But it actually means that we don't need to really, I want to say, have so much worry about what's happening around us. If we just come to ourselves and we start internally, we can already start making these really impactful changes, as you said, without even having to tell anyone about it if we don't want to. And still that change will happen. Yeah, that is fascinating. I love your
All
approach.
focus goes on the only thing that we can control. We can't control other people. We can't control external circumstances. All we can control is our thoughts and how we're being. And when we put the focus there, everything else, the circumstances will start to change. Pretty cool. It's pretty fascinating and very empowering too.
I want to say that once that happens, to me anyways, it's been surprisingly quick, if I can put it that way. We think this is something that we might have to do for 10 years and we have to become masters at something. And I feel that there is a speed to when we can actually align in certain frequencies and completely surprises us with the things that start happening. And I know people talk about that and you talk about it and people are just like, that doesn't happen like that. But that's exactly what's
That's a part
happening.
of the old programming. The part of the old programming is, oh gosh, to completely shift careers and build success, that's going to take decades. That's a part of the old programming, and it doesn't have to be that way. Not at all. And you're right. When you can get aligned and into the flow, it is surprisingly quick. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel there's nothing that limits the frequency and the energy, right? So it can move at a very fast pace. And again, that has to do with that trust, I feel. If you have built that and you can lean into that, I feel then you feel all right with it happening quickly as well. And it's not so much of, I can't really believe that would happen, but you're opening to it. So it comes full circle with your framework when people are opening to that kind of change. So, yeah.
Yes. It's all the inner work, and then just watch it. I love watching in just awe and appreciation and gratitude of what unfolds and how quickly.
Yeah.
And not to say that, and I'm also not making it sound like there aren't any challenges.
Yeah.
Of course, there are challenges. So I'm not saying it's like pure magic, but when you really do the inner work, you start seeing certain things that you would have normally seen as obstacles as, okay, why is this showing up? Or could I be in shifting to a different direction? Or is there something I need to learn to become that higher version of me that actually is capable of achieving this? You just start looking at challenges and obstacles differently. I get really good at reframing what would have been an obstacle. Oh, how could this actually be showing up to serve me? And just asking the question. You don't even have to answer it. You can journal about it, sometimes right away, sometimes you don't. But just asking yourself that question shapes your habits and your way of thinking and helps transform you into that highest version of yourself.
Yeah, you do take on a different perspective through all of that as you change and you learn, as you said, to reframe things. So it's so powerful. And of course, nowadays we often work virtually. We work with people online, but you also have hosted retreats and you host in-person events. So share with our listeners a little bit, maybe just an overview of what have you noticed that really transformed people or changed for them when they've come to some of your in-person retreats. Have you noticed that there were certain transformations in what they experienced from before and after, or share a little bit of that? I feel that would be very exciting to know about.
Thank you. Yes, the retreats, I will say, are 100% life changing. Imagine we were talking about how powerful the environment is. So imagine being in a space where now you're unplugged from all the noise and all the distractions, and you get to fully be yourself. You're in a safe community. You're in a community with other people who are looking to do the same thing. You find it's an ever evolving process to really go deeper and explore who you truly are beyond the masks, beyond the expectations, beyond where you think you should be, who you think you should be. And just being in that environment is so powerful. Gosh, the breakthroughs, the laughter, the tears, the you name it. Oh, gosh, it's hard to even put into words other than absolutely life changing. And when you are together, physically together, and outside of your regular environment and the noise is a game changer, an absolute game changer.
Yeah, I feel like we've all been missing a little bit of that since the pandemic, right? So much has moved virtually. And I feel like people have a real need for that in-person contact again and for those lived experiences in actual physical groups. So yeah, I look forward to hearing more about that. And to wrap up, Carolyn, share with our listeners, how can they find you? Where can they find you? How can they connect with you? And also, what kind of programs, services, resources, or more retreats? What do you have on offer for our listeners?
Oh, sure. Thanks for asking. So my contact information is carolynlitton.com, and that has access to all of my social handles, website, and all of that. But yes, the retreats, I'm very excited about our next retreat coming up. And you know it very well because I'm so excited to be co-hosting this with you about shifting from stress into the flow. And again, this flow state, you're so connected, you're so aligned, it feels incredible. And you can't get into the flow when you're in chronic stress, when you're experiencing stress. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with you to go through exercises to really shift from that state of stress physically and then get into the embodiment of flow. So that retreat is coming up in May. We're so excited about that. I do have other programs, including a 30-day transformational flow challenge, which is the exact same transformation that got me from being stuck and totally transformed my life, because it's about making it fun and easy and accessible. So I put it all together in a mobile app with some coaching, and it's such a beautiful experience, which actually I also want to tie that back to the retreats as well. The one that we're doing in Ireland, including and also the other retreats that I've hosted in the past, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Bali, we've always incorporated the culture and fun. Because again, yes, we get to be into flow, but if we're traveling the world, let's experience what the world has to offer and have fun too. Fun is so overlooked. Like this, it's such an important piece to raise our vibration, raise our frequency. So we love to have a lot of fun in our retreats as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to add one more fun thing, that the retreat in May is going to be in a castle. So I think that's going to be a fun thing as well.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. And embodying the culture too of Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. We, of course, will be linking to all of Carolyn's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on how you can get in touch with her, how you can find her 30-day program. If you want to get to know more about flow and how to work with that, how to get into flow, which is an important part of, I think, as you said, even finding out who you are and what it is that you would like to connect with, because that piece can be very confusing. And I want to see even that piece is very life-changing when you finally connect with your authentic self and you get to live that. So huge transformation. And listeners, go to the show notes and check out how you can connect with Carolyn. And of course, we'll link to the upcoming retreat as well. If you're looking forward to being in a castle, which has its own kind of really cool flow energy, and doing some fun things with us, including some nervous system work and coming into the flow state. And then we warmly invite you to join us in May 2026 for that as well. And Carolyn, I just want to thank you for being here today and for sharing this wisdom that you have really embodied through your own transformation, through your own experiences, pivoting into a different kind of thing that you're passionate about. So thank you for taking the time and sharing that with all of us today.
Oh, you are so welcome. And thank you for having me on your podcast. It's an honor. So thank you, Petra.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. I feel that now that I've experienced the flow state a few times, I feel this is something everybody needs to know.
Right? It feels so, yeah, when you're in flow, it feels like fun and ease and inspiration. It feels effortless. That's what it's like. And when you're in this state, you're very magnetic. It's so fun. And I can't wait to see what kind of magnetic energy gets to be created in that castle in Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. And listeners, thank you for tuning in with us today. And of course, make sure you also benefit from the resources that Carolyn has shared with you. And thanks for joining us today. Take really good care of yourselves and be well until the next time. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejorni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.